Hello everyone, welcome back to another reading vlog. It's Tuesday, and I wanted to start this video earlier this week, but just didn't get around to it. This week is so busy. I think we have something going almost every night, so that's fun. Oh, this splashed up in my face. But the book that I am mostly going to be reading this week, I'm sure that I will be reading others, but the main... Hey bud, lay down. Where are you going? But the main book that I am reading is this one, The Robe by Lloyd C. Douglas. I'm buddy reading this with Erica actually, so yeah, trying to stay on pace, and we want to be able to finish this book this week. Not sure if it's actually going to happen or not. It's a 500+ page book, and it is an older English, so for me it's a little bit, usually takes me longer to get through books like that are written in the older English style, because, you know, our modern brains are not used to having such a massive vocabulary, which is sad. But yes, The Robe is one of my all-time favorite books, and I introduced it to Erica while I was her teacher actually in school, and she said she read it in 3 days. That's impressive, okay? That's impressive. If you haven't heard about The Robe and you're not sure what the story is, I'll just give a little brief introduction here. It's the story of Marcellus. In the beginning, like in the first chapter, so this isn't a spoiler, he does something to get on the bad side of the... Is he the prince? I'm not really sure what the Roman hierarchy is, because I know that in this time period Tiberius is the emperor, but Gaius is like the prince, I guess is what they call him. I'm not really sure. Basically, Marcellus gets on his bad side, and so he's sent away to like one of the worst outposts in the Roman Empire. I think they call it Manoa. Yes, they call it this, the outpost wherever this is Manoa, and if I'm correct, it is, okay, yes, it has a map down here, which helps a lot because I wasn't sure exactly where Manoa is. I knew it was close to Israel, which it is. It's like south of Jerusalem, down close to the Dead Sea. So he gets sent there. It is one of the, like I said, it's one of the worst outposts for the Roman soldiers to be assigned to, and it's basically his punishment to go there. But then we just follow his story. He eventually ends up in Jerusalem, and then he turns out to be the at Jesus's crucifixion, when the soldiers gamble for his robe, he is the one who ends up winning this robe. And then he just goes on a journey of trying to figure out more about the person who died on the cross and this robe in particular, because it was a special robe. It didn't have any seams in it, so like the way it was woven, all of this stuff, and he just goes on an entire journey, and he runs into well-known characters from the Bible, and it's a fascinating concept. And at the beginning, I loved the dedication. It says, "Dedicated with appreciation to Hazel McCann, who wondered what became of the robe." And I'm like, just like a simple idea, like whatever happened to Jesus's robe that the soldiers gambled for? And then Lloyd C. Douglas creates this masterpiece of a story. Obviously it's fiction, but you know, it's fun to imagine what happened to some of those people that are just like minor characters in the overall story of the Bible. But I am loving it so far. I just finished chapter 2. The chapters are really long, I will say that. They're longer than I remember, but I am loving it again, just meeting up with the characters. For those of you who read the Mark of the Lion series, I really think you guys would enjoy this book because it reminds me so much of those books, because obviously the setting and the time period is the same, or roughly the same. Like this is in the beginning of the story, it is before Jesus is crucified, and Mark of the Line series is after all of that, many years after that. But you know, the Roman Empire, everything, the early church, yeah, this book has all the feels of that as well. And I don't know, I highly recommend this. I think it's so fun, and I'm just so happy to be rereading it because I've been wanting to for a very long time. That is the plan for this week. I'm also working on this one, The Heart's Charge by Karen Whittemire, book number 2 in the Hanger's Horseman series. Enjoying this one so far as well. It's really great. But that's about it. My battery is about to die, and I'm just going to sit here, sip on my coffee, and read for the next couple hours until we have to go to a meeting tonight. So, cheers. Erica's debut on Carmen's channel. I know, we haven't. Update. This vlog is definitely going to span several days. This is obviously like getting into the second week, but I was hiking over the weekend. It's Wednesday now, okay? I was hiking over the weekend, so I didn't get a lot of reading done. I did finish The Heart's Charge, which is the second book in the Hanger's Horseman by Karen Whittemire. 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I will go into more depth when I do the wrap-up at the end of the month. But as far as the robe, Erica is so far ahead of me. She obviously got ahead of me over the weekend, I think, because I was not reading. I'm still only in chapter 6, I believe it is. These chapters are very long, as I've stated before. Yes, I'm only in chapter 6, and I think she's like in chapter 12 or 13. But chapter 6 is where the crucifixion happens. And there's so much that goes on in this. I also was telling Erica today that I forgot how much the story is also about Marcellus, the soldier who won the robe. It's also a lot about his servant Demetrius, which I'm enjoying, which I forgot all about that. But we're basically right at the point right after the crucifixion when Marcellus comes back to the fort and Demetrius is taking care of him because he was very drunk, because all of the soldiers drank to numb themselves to what they were doing at the crucifixion, obviously, because it was so brutal. But it's just getting good. I'm remembering how much I love this book so much. It's just fabulous. It is 8:15 in the evening and I'm just now drinking my coffee. So there's that. But my husband has a softball game at 9. I don't think I'm gonna go because I'm tired and I don't enjoy going to the late games because they always go till at least 10. I don't know. So I'm just gonna sit here and maybe turn on some booktube videos that I need to catch up on and do a little bit more reading and try to catch up to where Erica is, because I do want to try to finish this book this week so that I can focus on the rest of my May TBR in the last week of May. How's this even happening? So yeah, there's not a whole lot happening the rest of this week. I think I'm just going to be at home most of the weekend, which is great because that means I should have plenty of time to finish the book. I'm still trying to decide if I want to include some things, some spoilery things in this vlog, because there's so much I want to talk about. And I'm afraid I'm going to miss it, you know, in the wrap up if I don't actually talk about it in this vlog. But reading it again, I'm just picking up on so many other little details that I didn't really think about the first time. But there's a lot of foreshadowing happening, which I love. Okay, so this is Demetrius talking. He's the servant of Marcellus. And, okay, yes, he's talking about how Rome, in that time, how everyone thought it was such an honor to be a soldier for Rome and fight and die for their country. He's talking about whoever wrote the line who said, "How sweet and glorious to die for one's country. Nonsense. Why should any sane man think it pleasant or noble to give up his life to save the world? It wasn't fit to live in, much less to die for, and it was never going to be any better." Here was this foolhardy Galilean, so thoroughly enraged over the pollution of a holy place that he had impulsively made an ineffective little gesture of protest. Talking about Jesus cleaning out the money changers in the temple. And just like that line where Demetrius is saying how insane it is for any man to want to give up his life to save the world, I'm like, little do you know, bro. That's what Jesus did. And also, just going back to the triumphant entry with the palm branches and everything, there's a scene where Jesus looks Demetrius in the eye as he's riding past on the donkey, and like Demetrius felt something. He felt seen for the first time, I guess, when Jesus looked at him, and I just love that scene so much. It's so beautiful. And I wrote in the margin that I can't wait to finally gaze into my Savior's eyes someday, and like just imagine that moment when we can finally see Jesus face to face. And yeah, just picturing this whole scene where Demetrius is just this lowly servant who is often unseen and just in the background, and Jesus sought him out in that massive crowd and looked at him. And again, I know that this is a fiction story, but still, just imagining that, and like all of those characters that aren't mentioned in the Bible that would have been around in that time to witness Jesus, and the soldiers, and obviously the soldier servants. So yeah, I just love these little things in this book. Erica and I were also discussing how easy this book is to read, actually, because a lot of times classics or books written in older English, or that have more vocabulary in them than what we have today, like sometimes it's harder for our brains to like absorb those books and read them quickly, at least for me. But like reading this again, I'm forgetting how, or I had forgotten how easy it is to actually read this book. And so if thick, long, older books intimidate you, I think this one would be a great one to start with, because it's actually so easy to read and easy to comprehend everything that's going on. So Okay, yes. So this is another spoilery thing, I think. I don't know what to say is spoiler because it's not a big thing that happens in the story, but it's still so important, and it's this minor detail that you might miss. I don't know how to say this. Maybe this isn't really a spoiler. But I just loved this scene where Marcellus is back home, and Demetrius is getting him cleaned up and whatever after being at the crucifixion, and Marcellus is obviously drunk as well, and he's just blubbering and talking about what he saw, and he says, I'm just gonna read this little bit here because I just think it's so beautiful. I'm dirty, he mumbled to himself. I'm dirty, outside and inside. I'm dirty and ashamed. Understand, Demetrius? I'm dirty and ashamed. You were only obeying orders, sir, consoled Demetrius. Were you out there? Marcellus tried to focus his eyes. Yes, sir. A very sorry affair. What did you think of him? Very courageous. It was too bad you had to do it, sir. I wouldn't do it again, declared Marcellus truculently, no matter who ordered it. Were you there when he called on his God to forgive us? No, but I couldn't have understood his language. Nor I, but they told me. He looked directly at me after he said it. I'm afraid I'm going to have a hard time forgetting that look. Demetrius put his arm around Marcellus to steady him. It was the first time he had ever seen tears in his master's eye. And so, just that little moment of Jesus being on the cross and looking at Marcellus, who was the soldier, or one of the soldiers who crucified him, and when he cried out, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, he then looked at Marcellus, and yeah, just all of the feelings and emotions that Marcellus felt in the the guilt and the shame that he felt. He was like, I'm dirty inside and out. But yeah, that's what happens when Jesus looks into us. He sees everything, and he still loves us and forgives us, even in all of our messiness and the sin that we're in. And I don't know, I love that scene. It's beautiful, and I know the rest of the story, and so that makes it even more beautiful to me, knowing the rest of Marcellus' story. But it's, yeah, if you love historical / biblical fiction, this is one. And like I said, if you liked the Mark of the Lion series, I think you would really enjoy this one as well. But that is the update. I'm gonna stop talking. I could talk about so many more things in this book, but those are some of the few highlights that I wanted to bring up in this story. But yes, we're gonna read now, okay? Goodbye. Getting good. I love Lloyd C. Douglas. I don't know much about him. I actually want to study more about his life and read more of his books because his writing is just so fascinating to me. It's so how do you come up with this? How? It's amazing. I love it. But yes, almost lost my pencil. But yeah, I am now ready for chapter 7. So this is great. But I'm gonna sign off here for now, and I'll see you guys in the next clip, whenever that is. Hello everyone, good afternoon. It's a little past lunchtime, almost 1 o'clock. There's Kip over there enjoying the fresh air. I just wanted to come sit outside because this past week and a half or more, I don't know, it's just been so cloudy and rainy and thunderstorms, but also we've had several days of smoke haze because of the fire in Banff, Canada, I believe. I think that someone told me that that's where the smoke was coming from, because I don't think we currently have any major wildfires in Colorado right now, which we often do over the summer. But yeah, this time I think the smoke was coming down from Canada, but it finally cleared up today and the sun is shining and there's blue skies. There are still some clouds in the sky, but it's not overcast. But I personally loved all of the rain that we got and the thunderstorms. Like yesterday, I was literally sitting at my doorway with the door open, watching the rainstorm. It was hailing a little bit too, but I love thunderstorms so much. I've said it before. Because it just reminds me of Georgia summers, and yeah, I don't know, I was just very excited because we don't get a lot of rain here in Colorado. Yeah, so I was just very grateful for the rain because it's making everything so nice and green, and you know, we can just always use more water here in this dry, deserty land that we live in out here. But anyway, I'm out here enjoying the beautiful weather and gonna try and get some more reading done. I did finish chapter 6 last night, but I didn't get much further than that. Just a couple pages into chapter 7 now. So that is what I'm doing right now, and I'm not sure how long I'll sit out here. It just feels really good outside, so I might just sit out here for a while. We'll see. But let's get some reading done. Okay, so these are gonna be spoilers, but I wanted to give a little bit of an update of where we are in this story. So something happened that Demetrius had to leave Marcellus, and he goes to Jerusalem and meets Stephen, as you would have seen in that one little clip. And we all, those of us who know the Bible, know who Stephen was. And yeah, and so this is where Demetrius starts learning more about who Jesus was, and yeah, and he had also noticed as he was traveling to Jerusalem the little fish symbol that the Christians used back in the day to signify where they were or where they were meeting, because they had to meet in secret because they were starting to be severely persecuted. And yeah, so this is all in a letter that Demetrius wrote to Marcellus, just giving him an update on his life. Okay, the battery died and I moved locations, but what I was saying is that like these little things to me are like really exciting parts of the story, because you know, it's the build-up for me, because Demetrius is meeting some of the disciples. I don't really know the timeline, like how many weeks or months, or if it's, yeah, how long it's been since Jesus died and rose again. But Demetrius doesn't know that he rose again yet, because Stephen is still a bit hesitant to share things with Demetrius, because he's not sure that he can be trusted, because obviously the Christians are all being persecuted right now, and so they're, like I said, they're meeting in secret, and so he's a bit wary of Demetrius. But Demetrius is slowly picking some things up from like the disciples and everyone, and the big fisherman, which is Peter, is introduced here in this section, and I don't know, it's just exciting to me and I love it. I love this book. I love it so much. This whole build up, everything. It's just fantastic. But I decided to come out here to get some reading done. Let's cue the time lapse. Where are you going? Kit, you have to stay here. Come. Come here, we're gonna sit here, okay? Come, buddy. We're outside. Got a blanket. Gonna watch the sunset. I have a cup of tea and I've got my books. I left my phone inside because I don't want any distractions. Oh, there's my pencil. It was hidden, camouflaged. Because I really want to finish the robe. I'm almost at 50%. I think if I finish this chapter that I'm on, I'll be at 50%. And I really want to finish this book by tomorrow for sure, so that I can finish the rest of my TBR in the remaining 4 days of May. We will see. Good one. Lay down. So I came outside, left my phone inside, and I'm gonna sit out here until it's too dark to read. So, got the essentials, the tea, the water, and the books. And pencils because I'm annotating this book. Since it is my second read and I'm noticing so many more things as I've already talked about in this video, so yeah. We're just gonna read. What do you smell? I don't smell anything. It's such a pretty evening. I cannot. I come outside so I don't have distractions, but nature itself distracts me. The blues and the greens are so vibrant right now. Wow. Kip, do you like being outside? Do you like being outside? Are you having so much fun? Yes. We're on the last chapter.
Yeah.
There we go, it's focusing now.
We got the iced
Here,
coffee.
let's block. Is he allowed to be on YouTube?
He's been on my channel.
Nice. Yep, so I came over to Erica's house we're gonna read the last chapter together
Yes.
of the robe.
We got iced coffee and lemon raspberry scones and Mitchell.
Mitch!
And what?
No. For the big fisherman.
There it is.